Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of We Are the Batman. That's right, since I'm here by myself, something has happened. Life, Mike's under the weather decimated Houston, so I have no internet to truly record this properly. All that to say, yes, my family and I are fine at home, which is where I am now. Everything is okay, but we don't have internet at my office. Also, Mike is not feeling very well, so rather than try and force a bad situation, we are just going to release a episode that we recorded a couple weeks ago about Batman intros. And I hope you guys enjoy it and look forward to next week when we will have our year out from Superman Legacy being released. We'll discuss all the costumes, the pictures at length, things of that nature. But for now, enjoy this episode. Bye bye.
Hey everybody, welcome back to We Are the Batman. I'm Mike.
And this is Matthew.
All right, this week we're doing something kind of fun. We've been talking about Batman and animation, and here's kind of what led us to this. I just had my phone on shuffle in the car the other day, and I forgot that I had the Batman Beyond theme song saved in my favorites playlist because that playlist that song rules. And I messaged you specifically. I was like, song's a lot more metal than I remember it being now that and hearing it like just hearing it on its own in the car. And that led us to like we should talk some intros. We should talk some theme songs.
Yes.
So that's what we're gonna do today. We're gonna give our top three Batman theme song intro theme songs. We'll give some honorable mentions, and we're keeping it strictly to Batman. We'll do some other ones when there are some other ones to talk about later on down the road, because right now our options are Peacemaker, and that's number one because Peacemaker had the best theme song ever for season.
Are we sticking with animated stuff?
Yeah, we're sticking with the animated stuff. Yeah.
I think the next one would be let's just expand it to all comic based.
We'd have to. There's not enough other DC animated series to pull from that don't also have Batman in them. So,
and the fact that there's a couple of those Marvel ones that are just amazing. One is at the top of my list that like there's no reason.
I mean it's either X-Men or Spider-Man. Really? What do you got? Is it Iron Man?
No.
Is it SWAT Cats?
No, well, SWAT Cats is a great one. But
SWAT
have
Cats.
you? Are you? I'm trying to think if your siblings are young enough for Superhero Squad.
I caught. They are just old enough that like we caught the tail end of Superhero Squad, so that kind of missed us a little bit.
If you've never seen the intro,
no,
I had to look it up because I thought it was Offspring.
Okay. Okay.
It is insane how good, and even the animation and like what they do in the thing. I'm just like, I didn't know I needed a POV shot over Thor's shoulder as he's flying through the city and the little wings are wiggling.
What that makes me think of is there was this song during COVID that came out from All Time Low called "Dear Maria, Count Me In," and it became the dedication of this entire TikTok account to how it was the perfect intro to every anime ever made. And the guy took every anime series or anything anime someone recommended and set that song over the credits, and it fit every single time.
It's like what is the one that they started doing where the Predator end credits match all sitcom show themes?
Oh yeah. or remember the thing where people were putting Linkin Park's "What I've Done" over like the last shot of every movie because that final shot of Transformers is so freaking iconic.
Hey, I use that song for the trailer of one of my movies.
Dude, the song rules. Look, that was honestly Linkin Park's last, in my opinion, last truly good album. That song, when that song came out, I lost my mind. That song is very good. We are not even remotely on topic right now.
I was grabbing my piece of paper, trying to get us back on there.
Well, since you've got the notes, Matt, why don't you lead us into kicking this thing off?
All right. So there's a couple different things that when I was looking at, I had a really hard time with, in that there's a lot of theme songs, especially when you get into Superman the animated series, Batman the animated series, The New Adventures of Batman and Robin, The New Adventures of Batman, Superman and Batman Hour, like they all use the same two theme songs. They're very interesting and very cool, but it was
Mhm.
just weird because I literally was watching them side by side, going like, okay, I think these are the same songs. So it's
Well,
like a weird mixture of the two, but
well, that kind
well,
of goes back to when we talked about, just Batman and animation throughout the years, when we talked about how a lot of those shows were the same, not just the same voice actors, but even though they were like 10 years apart, it was the exact same animation models because they were like, yeah, don't fix what ain't broke. Just keep
yeah.
save money where you can and just keep using what you got.
Well, this is even the '90s one, the '90s
Yeah.
Batman the animated series.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was
It's a
interesting, and then
it's a variation on Danny Elfman's theme from
yeah,
I think it's almost note for note.
it's
I mean,
very close to the
it's
Batman
very
movie.
I think, but I mean, they straight up said like, yes, it was. I mean, Star Trek did the same thing. The Next Generation theme song came from Star Trek the motion picture. So that's,
Yeah,
yeah, it's very evident that that was either Danny Elfman inspired or pulled from the theme from the movie.
yeah. Yeah, no, it was fun. It's and then of course to go back to the originals
Yeah.
where the Batman and Robin and the Joker and this and that. All right, we
I
get it. We know who these
I
are.
still love it though.
Oh, it's great. Then, then
I love those 60s 70s cartoons, man. It's just there's something in the nostalgia of it. I'm 5 years old again when I watch those, man.
well, and two, you think about like you know, as much as Batman's always been Batman, you still it wasn't a zeitgeist thing. You had to open the show introducing every single person and what was happening. A lot of shows did that back then. So
Yeah,
it
well,
was
that's because back then Hollywood liked to treat us all like we were stupid. Like you have to explain, you have to spoon, especially kids. Kids are dumb. You have to spoon feed everything to them because they got to do this for the parents or the grandparents or the nanny that has to sit there and watch it with them. And
yeah.
nowadays we've learned like, hey, the kids are smarter than you realize. There's a reason why Bluey is so popular. By the way, as a non-parent who happened to catch a glimpse of some Bluey recently, I get it. I get it. I'm not gonna lie. I get it. Doesn't make me want kids, but I get it.
Dude, probably the funniest thing I've ever seen in the last 5 years is the episode where Bluey's dad makes fun of the mom for being so like basically like being horrible when she's pregnant. So
Oh
he puts
no.
on the harness and then Bingo, the younger of the two, the orange
Yeah.
one, climbs in it. So though for the day he's living his life with Bingo in his stomach.
Uh
And then
uh
this
the one I caught the glimpse of was he was trying to get their Chinese food, trying to get their takeout,
oh
and he
yes.
just wanted the damn spring rolls, and the kids just would not settle down, and he's like, just want spring rolls. And I was like, that is the most relatable shit I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life.
Well,
Uh
what sucked is that episode got banned here because at one point he goes in the backyard and has the neighbor help him remove Bingo.
oh
So he's
yeah.
basically like giving birth in the pool.
Well, let's also not forget that like what was the other one? The other one I saw was like it was like he was pretending to be a doctor or something, and just straight up like there's a pot joke, and I was like, I you know what? Bless you, Australia or Canada or whoever.
Australia.
It's Australia, yeah. But yeah, he's like when he's like, we did an X-ray and you've got all these things inside of you, and the dad goes, this little green thing, and the dad points at it and goes, is that a pot leaf? I was like, the show's great. I still don't want kids, but anyway, yeah. So, but yeah, there's nowadays we understand that kids are smarter than we give them credit for. So back in the day, those intros were a little ham-fisted. That's why as much as I love the 60s and 70s cartoon, not going to be in my top three. Because it's not and we're just going by songs, by the way. This is
Yeah.
because there wasn't really a song, it was just generic, somebody on an organ or in a little 4 or 5 piece band recorded some shit, or they used a synthesizer or something at that point probably. So Matt, I'm gonna let you kick this one off then. Where do you want to start? Where do you want to start us on your journey of Batman theme songs?
It was actually kind of funny because I sent you that link that somebody actually put them all together.
Yeah, seriously. Shout out to Retro Dude and Travel Girl on YouTube, who compiled all Batman animated intros from 1968 to 2015. It's a 9.5 minute video. Thank you for that, because we kind of needed it for a refresher.
It was actually interesting. I think there was two big surprises. One today, the other from a couple days ago, and I'm gonna lean into my surprise on one of them, and we'll
Okay.
get to the other one. Honorable mentions is like, like the Batman animated series is a fantastic show. I just think that it's good, but it gets blasted by a couple of the other ones. So it's my number 3.
Really? That
Really,
low? Okay. I
my
figured it
number
was going to be
3.
your number 2. Okay.
My number 3, and my others are gonna surprise the living out of you, bro.
Okay.
But
Okay.
it's really good. I just feel like, I mean, it was definitely what that music was like at that time.
Yeah.
But I just like, especially watching like the one that's the Superman and Batman hour. I really like that song. It's not as
Yeah.
good as this one, but it was like at least it kind of changed themes. But I think also like that is ultimately the theme song for that scene that is the opening of Batman.
Hmm.
Whereas all the other ones are just like a standard intro, which is like here's just music to a collage of scenes from the show or whatever. So I
Mm.
think it gets kind of locked into what it's trying to do. It's still my number 3. It still blows away like
I
4 or
mean,
5 other
yeah.
ones. It's just not as high up on the list.
Okay. Okay.
What's your number, Trace?
My number trace is actually Batman Brave and the Bold. I
Eh,
love
wait for the
uh
sequel.
oh, are we saving it?
Yep, we're saving
Okay.
it.
Well, then what's your number 2? I forgot we were doing that. So Batman the Animated Series is actually my number 2, so I'll talk about it in a sec. What's your well,
Uh, I think we're gonna be juggling 2s and 1s because my number 2, honestly, is Batman Beyond.
okay, shit, we're in trouble then. All right, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you what my 3 are then. So my number 3 is Batman Brave and the Bold. My number 2 is Batman the Animated Series. My number 1 is Batman Beyond.
Oh, what? Well, I mean, I think it's the correct. It's the
Yeah.
correct. I mean, yeah, my number 3 is Batman animated series. Number 2 is Batman Beyond, and my number 1 is Batman Brave and the Bold, dude.
Yeah, those are the three best. I was like, you know what? Screw it. Let's just talk about these 3. So we're talking about Batman the Animated Series. I'm calling an audible. Screw it. We're talking about the same 3 songs. Let's just talk about these 3 songs then.
There we go.
Um, I still stand by my rankings though. Here's the reason. Here's the reason why I put Brave and the Bold at number 3 is because it's fun. It rocks. Don't get me wrong. Um, you could put that theme song to just about any show though, and it works. but
Yes,
but it fits that vibe of that show so expertly well, especially the MF and bongos, man. Love I love this super fast bongos up. That's very, I love it. I just something about it. It's just, yeah. But again, it's one of those like you could also use this theme song for just about any show. It
I
doesn't
can't
fit,
argue, but I love
yeah. But if it didn't fit the vibe of the show as a whole so well,
Yes.
it's like the song itself, the theme song itself, the theme itself is a freaking bop, dude. Like it's a great theme song. Um, it's not very Batman-y, but then again, the show itself is quite the
It's not the dark brooding thing.
it's the
that most
it's a
Batmans are.
deviation from what we're used to with animated Batman, at least at this point in time when it comes out. But it still slaps as a theme song, and it again, I think it's just because of how well, because it's so on theme with the show. Like it doesn't work as a Batman theme song on its own, but it works as the theme song for this version of Batman.
Yeah. And what it reminds me of is when you get into like some of Paul McCartney's songs with the Wings or early Queen stuff where like the song's not the same all the way through.
Mhm.
Like you've got this song and then all of a sudden it changes tempo and changes gears, and then it does it again. And I think that's what I really like about this, because I love all that music. Is
Mhm.
just that weird, like the song starts this way, and then it, like you said, suddenly it changes into this bongos,
Mhm.
almost solo,
It's like
and then go.
yeah. There's a certain way to describe the vibe, and it's on the tip of my tongue, and I'm just not pulling it. And it's one of the, I remember thinking of it when I watched the show for the first time, and I'm trying to pull it now for this, and I just can't. But it's just there's a specific like film genre that it evokes, and I am just it's right there, and I just can't pull it. And it's driving me crazy. But it's something with the bongos specifically, man. It's just yeah. But again, and I think it's just because the show itself is so unique. And I think that's what makes all three of these so definitively good. And I do want to say it was really hard not to put the Batman animated series theme song on here. And we'll talk about that in a little bit when we talk about some honorable mentions.
Yeah,
I think ultimately this one, the reason these three are the three is because not only do they each perfectly fit, like a good theme song has to be the thesis statement for the show.
yeah,
And I think those are the three that really and truly, like, if I were to say, hey, this is the theme song for my new Batman show, and I just played you the song, you'd get the show. You'd
yeah,
understand the vibe of the show without having ever seen a frame of it.
yeah,
So that's why it comes down to these three, I think.
yeah. No, yeah, I can't argue with any of that. And then Batman Beyond, dude,
Well, real quick before we get to
okay,
Batman Beyond, just because I didn't say a ton about Batman the animated series yet, but I think the main reason that it is, again, it's for the same reason you love Batman the Brave and the Bold one, but also Batman the animated series, because it was, and I'm sure anybody who's, if you're watching this on YouTube, like, please let us know in the comments and correct me, but I believe it's the same theme song, or just a section of the theme song from Elfman's score for the Burton movies.
uh, it's
I
a it's
could
a,
be
like a
wrong.
it's done by Danny Elfman,
Yeah, Danny
but
Elfman did the theme song.
it's like a it's a
Okay,
like a
so maybe that's why maybe that's what I'm
yeah,
misremembering, is that so Danny Elfman did the theme song. It's just, you can tell because it's he's doing this at the same time as he's doing music for
yeah,
Batman Returns. It's also, I mean, look, we all know the jokes, so you can tell a Danny Elfman song from clearly, but
yeah,
also it's a damn good Danny Elfman theme.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, it does the job. And I think also, whenever we're talking about songs, and I know that the intro is iconic. I'm going to be completely honest. Parts of the intro sequence are iconic. The lightning bolt behind Batman is iconic. The narrowing of the eyes is iconic. The WB logo turning into the blimp is iconic. The rest of it's fine.
yeah, yeah.
um,
Well, it's also like it's like you're saying, this is what you're about to watch.
yeah,
It's not super exciting. It's not super crazy. It's just like, this is what you're about to watch. It gets you. It's like that warm up before the workout. Like, hey, this is
yeah,
where we're going. Don't worry about. Don't get anime out of your head. Get 80s animation out of your head. This
yeah,
is the style, and now you're introduced to it, and then you can step in and because it's kind of weird to think about like how different this show looked from everything on television at the
yeah,
time. After this, everything starts looking like this.
yeah.
But before this, nothing looked that way, and I think that's kind of what it does too.
And something also to think about too, now that we're talking about it, is, they use the same theme song in, I mean, it's and I cannot remember what her name is, and she does such a good job. She's the composer for the show and for Mask of the Phantasm. And I just watched, if you guys, by the way, have never, and this is a complete non-paid advertisement, Channel Awesome, the guys who do like Nostalgia Critic, every year for the month of May do a thing called Bat May, and where they have gone from the very first episode of Batman the Animated Series all the way through all of the animated films, and they just
Yeah.
did the last of them this past May, so like they're done with it now. Go watch those. They do, the guy who, I forget the guy's name who's behind those, the deep dive of research that he does into these like 10-minute videos about each episode of Batman the Animated Series and the movies are incredible. But I feel bad. I'm mostly vamping
Shirley
right now.
Walker.
Thank you, to give Matthew time to Google her name. Shirley Walker, who does the score for the show in general and for the film Mask of the Phantasm, that version of the theme song we get during the opening credits over that CG intro with the chorus singing, it's like, yeah, it's the same theme song. No matter how you dress it up, it's still gonna send shivers down your spine when you hear it, because I remember being 5 years old at a movie theater seeing Mask of the Phantasm and that opening credits giving me goosebumps.
Yeah.
Mostly because of that song.
My gosh, she has done a lot of movies.
She's Shirley Walker, man. Yeah, I am so bad with names, so I feel bad.
True Lies, Mystery Men.
Mystery Men is God. We need to find an excuse to talk about Mystery Men on this show. All right, that movie is a work of art. Well, let's talk about another work of art, man. Let's talk about this Batman Beyond theme song, dude.
Oh yes.
This is so metal. It's so metal. Oh.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the show, we always joke that the show is Blade Runner Batman. The song is so heavily influenced, because you watch the behind the scenes for the show, like they say like it was heavily influenced by like industrial rock, like Static X, Wayne Static, that kind of thing. And then what's crazy is then when they do Return of the Joker, Wayne Static is actually brought in. He does a song for the soundtrack / the movie, because it was the 2000s and that what you did. You had a pop song over the end credits.
Yeah.
And Wayne Static, I think he didn't do the music for the whole movie, but he did that song. Because I think at that point he had gone solo from Static X anyway. So I'm a huge Static X fan, kids. Love me some Wayne Static. But I think that's one of it's because like, yeah, like it's very clear that when they were doing this theme song, they were listening to some industrial metal. It's a shredding guitar arpeggio, over what I think is some phaser effects and probably a distortion pedal, and it's just, man, he's hitting the kill switch on there during the bridge. It's such a dope song, man.
Yeah, see, I had an album, I think it was DC theme songs or DC intro songs. I don't know how I got this CD.
I have that's what I have it on. I have the exact same thing on my phone, on my iPhone, because it's on Apple Music, is that album.
Yeah, and it's like, it has all the old like Batman and Robin and the Justice League, the Flash. And then I'll randomly like a modern thing would come. And I remember I was listening to it and this song came on. I was like, the hell is this from? And then like, oh, hey, look at that. Even though I don't understand why they don't have that. It was weird. It's like one of those like, is this just the only rights you could get? Because it's a lot of weird.
Yeah.
Like
it's what they have the rights to, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. You could get Remy Zero to sign off, but you got the end credit Smallville.
Yeah. Well, because at the time, especially, they had the rights to that song from Smallville, because they used that song in every trailer, every preview for every episode. They even had the band play in the season 1 finale. It's so weird that I remember that. And I have no memory of what that band's name is whatsoever. It's a good song.
Zero.
Remy Zero. Thank you. You literally just said it, and it went in one ear and out the other. Yeah, I know. Because I remember his buddy in the episode being like, Remy Zero rules, and I was like, who?
Yeah. Yeah, the guy who we used to listen to every single week. Somebody say, don't make me sing.
It was the same problem I had with Star Trek Enterprise, where they used that song by The Calling in every preview for the show, and then it wasn't the theme song, and the theme song they got was awful. Anyway, moving on. Batman Beyond theme song rules.
The intro's cool, but the song is really awesome. It's like, I like a song that's like I said, like getting you ready. Getting you pumped for what we're about to see. And this song just takes it.
It's a thesis statement. It's like this song makes you think of flying cars and robots and AI and the future and raves.
Yeah.
because that's mostly what happens on this show is robots and flying cars and raves, because apparently
And
that's all teenagers do in Batman Beyond is go to giant raves with the world's biggest fucking lava lamps I've ever seen. I love Batman Beyond, but sometimes I really have to take some of the scenes with a grain of salt, because it's like, I know we're in animation, and I know this is being picky. The physics of this scene do not make sense.
yeah, ever so often, yeah.
Every so often, I have to just be like, it's a Saturday morning cartoon. It's a Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Which is, by the way, running simultaneously with
Batman the animated series. And
Batman, the
Oh.
Batman, the new adventures of Batman and Robin, and Justice League.
No, Justice League comes after.
Well, but remember, they cross over.
I think they overlap.
There's an overlap that happens because the Batman show ends, Batman Beyond keeps going, Justice League starts before Batman Beyond ends. So there's this weird little hop, skip, and gap where Batman Beyond's kind of our bridge into the next thing, and then the crossovers happen, and then we get whatever the hell that epilogue episode is.
Oh my gosh, that as much as I kind of like go okay, I also like that.
I've never been able to forgive them for that. To me, that is still the dumbest thing that has ever been done. My God, thank God the comics never bring that up ever again.
Nobody ever brings that up again.
Nobody brings that up again. It's kind of like that time when Leia kissed Luke and The Empire Strikes Back. It's like, yeah, let's just the less we remember that, the better. They're brother and sister now, kids. Anyway, let's talk some honorable mentions here as we start to wrap up. We mentioned The Batman. It's a good theme song when they have it.
Well, and it also changes.
That's my point, is it's a good theme song when they have it, and then they get a different theme song and it's not as good.
Yeah.
But even the one they have, because it was The Edge from U2's The Edge is the one that did the original one. That was like their part of their big promo thing was theme song by U2's The Edge. And I was like, man, for being like one of like the world's most known guitar players, this is a really underwhelming theme song.
It's a really, and I think too,
it's funky, but
well, and it always like, I think one of the times the first time I watched, I was like, why does this look like Scooby-Doo at the beginning? Like Scooby-Doo and the Batman have one of those versions of Scooby-Doo. They have the exact same opening. The bat's flying out. It's hilarious.
It's that you are 100% correct, actually. That you are not wrong. But also, like, when you think of it, I also don't think the song fit the vibe of the show.
No.
And it didn't fit the vibe of the intro, because the show is very anime influenced, and the intro is it needed a more upbeat, traditional like anime style.
It needed Yoko Kanno to come and do like lap belt instead of with the seat belts, and do like Tank or some just a new.
We just needed whoever the girl group was for Teen Titans to come in and go Batman and just do a take on the OG Batman theme song.
What was their name?
I do not remember. Do not ask me. Do not look it up. So it just like, and then the one they get for when they change the intro after Robin joins the show was just it was so generic.
Yummy Yummy. I don't know how I could have forgot that name.
Whatever the second intro theme song they got for the Batman was really just generic, and was like, this seems like something like nowadays you'd be like, did AI make this? Like
the fact that the best part of the theme song is a very Aaron with the Batman,
which is like super gothy and punk rocky, and I'm like, yeah, you guys needed a heavier hitting song. I don't
know. The other one that surprised me, because I always forget about it, and I know you have not watched any of it, is I like that one from the Batman Unlimited show. Like, that was a pretty cool little intro song. Huh?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, so
yeah. But it was like, no, this is a cool little song. Like, it's not Batman.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't scream Batman per se, and it's just kind of like your generic superhero intro song. But I thought it was really kind of cool.
Well, even as bad as Beware the Batman is, like this theme song wasn't awful. It's a big nothing burger. It's just generic gothy synthy sounding. Like it's just
Yeah.
it just again it just sounds like it could be anything. And then like when you get back into like the 60s and 70s and all that, like yeah, it's just a lot of talking at the kids. And also that OG 60 show is the most seizure inducing flashing of red and blue behind Batman and Robin, because at that time we were like, screw it. They can't handle flashing lights, they're on their own.
Yeah.
The one for the new Batman, the new Adventures of Batman and Robin, again, just kind of it falls into that same problem as like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. It's like, yeah, these are just somebody sat down with a synthesizer and GarageBand and made, or went on YouTube and Googled the heroic sounding theme song and got something from, like, they're fine. They're heroic sounding, but they don't scream like superhero theme song. If you played them for me right now, I couldn't pick it out of the lineup.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's all of them, man. Did we miss any?
I think we pretty much nailed it, man.
Okay.
Like it's you know, like I said, I like that one that was for the Superman Batman hour, which is like a mesh of the two.
That wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Yeah, but I think it was mostly helped because the one for Superman the animated series was really good.
Yeah.
That one, as Superman tends to do, his theme song was doing the heavy lifting in that case. So
yeah,
as tends to be the case. I am so excited to hear what the Superman score is going to sound like for James Gunn's movie. Look at me being excited for Superman shit.
I hope it's original. Like that was I was thinking about it the other day. We never even talked about it, but like I hated in the Justice League theatrical cut when they cut in the music from the original movies.
I kind of loved it because I also love that score and because it is Danny Elfman. So I was like, fuck. But also I was like, fuck it. We're just trying to get this movie finished. So who cares?
It was just one of those like,
but I also will say I do think Junkie XL's score for the Snyder Cut was far and away better than Danny Elfman's was for.
Yes.
And I love Danny Elfman, but I thought his score was actually quite good, but I thought Junkie XL's was miles better. It was just a better fit. I think it's just what it all comes down to, like you said, for a good theme song, it's just got to be the thesis statement for the show. So that's what we're looking for. And I think these three shows have nailed it more than any other. And you know, it'll be a long time until we get more Batman in TV. So
no, that one on Amazon
coming out this year. Cape Crusaders coming out this year. So
August 1st, right?
August 1st. It's not far.
It'll be
a month and a half. So let us know what your favorites are down in the comments, guys. We always want to know. Make sure you follow us on all social media at WATB Pod. You can find me on social media at Mr. Mike Shea.
Find me on Twitter at Mr. J Ninja.
That is going to do it for this week on We Are the Batman. We'll see you guys again next time. Same bat time, same bat podcast channel.
Bye-bye.